you will be make up with reading a book or something and you can't attend this class, fine it is. I'll mark you present provided you put a message in the chat. Okay, good. So engineering mechanics is a foundation course for a which will take help you in taking care of every mechanical thing, every machine. It will help you how every machine works, how every machine can overload it, how to keep a load and the stresses etc. in a control so that ship can move from one place to the another uninterrupted. Now, let me tell you, all of you must have known by now that your job itself is very serious. You are dealing with a system, you know, imagine that you are 500 kilometers away from any shore whatsoever. You are on a ship, and if anything goes wrong over here with the machines, if it is not moving at the right speed, or it is subjected to some kind of a rogue waves, then there is your guts and your courage and your knowledge only will help you in taking action. Yes, in some very bad situation, maybe some helicopter can come and they pick all of you up and they go away when ship is not controllable, or maybe you can jump with a lifeboat and run away. But that rarely happens. Every time a marine engineer is dealing with a situation which no other engineer on the land is experiencing. Right? Ultimately, ship is moving under the influence of what? We know very, very well that ship is acted by the force of a buoyancy. Then ship has suppose it is a CG over here, then it has its weight acting over here. This propeller, what does it do, my dear friends? This propeller is pushing it. Propeller is pushing the water, and the water in turn is pushing a ship ahead. There is a resistance of the water coming from the side. Then there are forces of a wind and the forces of a current also acting upon it. Then there are forces of a waves. What can happen? A wave comes like this. So over here, ship is under the water for a large extent. Here it is not so. So here there is a high buoyancy. Here there is a high buoyancy, and here there is a less buoyancy. Correct? And we all are keeping the ship stable under the controlling the influence of all these forces. So, how to add the forces? What can be the effect of a force? That anybody should know beyond any doubt, right? This is a job of probably every engineer dealing with the machines, be it a marine or a mechanical, but marine engineers are in a special condition as I explained it to you. You will come across a lot of machines in your life. Look, this is a picture of a engine room. Friends, here there is an engine. This part, this is the top of an engine.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
We can't see the picture you are showing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I got it. I got it. I will just come back here again. Thanks for telling it to me. Can you see it now? Can you
Yes,
see
sir.
the?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
fine.
sir.
Good. So now you know. Uh, this is the top of an engine, which we will see closely later on. And on top of it, there are this, these beams this long slender part are beams on which you can notice some hooks here. These hooks are required to lift the pistons out. You must have seen the piston of your motorcycle sometimes, maybe if you spend some time in the garage. But here the piston itself is weighing about 700 kilograms to about 1,000 kilograms. A piston can be as tall as you and me. It can have a diameter of about 900 mm to 1 meter. And if it is a hollow cylinder, probably 4 persons like you and me can stand inside. It is such a big cylinder. To how to remove it. Now, if such a beam is to be operated, then it is to be certified that safe working load is a 3000 kilogram or a 300 kilogram. As the case may be, it can be anything. So, who will decide? How can we calculate such things? How can we select a beam? How strong this beam should be? Or by any chance, it is written on the beam that safe working load is 400 and you want to lift 500. So how you will probably reinforce it, right? Such decisions are to be taken. So for that, we should know how to add the forces. Now, again, a quick picture. This is just a picture. I don't want to tell you anything further, but here you can see that this is a crane that I was showing it to you, and this is a gigantic engine. You can see a man standing over here, engineer standing over here. So you have an idea that even the head of the piston, it is about, as I had about 5 feet or say 6 feet. Let us have a look at some more systems in a marine engineering. Of course, see, this is not a marine engineering scenario. This is in one industry, there is a diesel generator set. Diesel generator sets are kept. You will be dealing with such machines day in and day out, right? This is a generator, this is a diesel engine, it is running it, power is being produced, and exhaust gases go away from here. On the ship also you will find a DG set looking like this, and to maintain that there is a crane. Okay, what kind of a crane should it be, etc. How much should it deflect? What is the dangerous level of its deflection when it lifts the load? All these things are decided with the help of a engineering mechanics, right? Acha. Now, this is a marvelous scene. I really envy you all guys. You will see such a thing. This is a shipyard where ships are built. Okay. No engineer on the land is dealing with such a magnificent system. Probably while sailing on the ship there won't be, but this is how the ships are built, and this is a crane dedicated to make it. This is an aircraft carrier. To build aircraft carrier, this crane has been made over here. So how strong a crane should be, how strong this beam should be, so that the heaviest of the plate or heaviest of the segment of the aircraft carrier can be lifted and put together and welded together, right? You will be a Lloyd certified welder by the time you leave this institute. It is an achievement, let me tell you. You are noticing the 1, 2, 3 kind of a hook. Now all the hooks are nearby, and if you try to lift something, then it can be at one place there can be a very heavy load. So to keep it safe, maybe some hooks should be here, some hooks should be here, so that load is distributed. All these common sense things, engineering mechanics will become your engineering common sense after some time. You study over here and then you be on the ship for some time, and it will be always in back of your mind what to do and what not to do. Yeah, this is another interesting part of a marine engineering. Some of you eventually will work on a oil drilling rigs. Oil drilling rigs is a most challenging part of ocean engineering. This rig is about as high as a 4-story building. This is as high as about 10 to 12-story building. It does not look so. It looks like a toy, but no. And again, this huge thing is floating. And look at the number of ropes. How many of them are required to lift it? Now, total weight of this rig is known. How many ropes are required? How will you decide? You will decide it using your knowledge of engineering mechanics. Just see the glory of this subject. You will be applying your knowledge of advanced mathematics, engineering mechanics. Then you will study about the materials, which are the strong materials. You will study the two courses of one course of a strength of material, one course of solid mechanics, and the two courses of a naval architecture, that is how strong the ship should be, and you have one special course on engineering design. Engineering design will tell you what should be the cross section of this column, what should be this height of this particular beam, etc. So here we are beginning in this course to study everything. I mean, you begin with engineering mechanics, study solid mechanics, study strength of materials, study naval architecture, study system design, engineering system design, marine system design, and then at the end of your 6th semester, you will have a great amount of knowledge. This is just a beginning. It is something like we started studying, a limits, and then we studied differentiation, and then we studied integration, we studied the application of a differentiation, we studied application of a integration, so we know why it is useful. And now in many of the courses you are studying a thermodynamics also. Maybe you are differentiating the things day in and day out, right? So you understood the application of a calculus. So here These are the applications of your knowledge of engineering mechanics. Okay, if you are curious, you can just stop me and we can discuss. There is nothing wrong in doing so. We can talk a little. This is a very simple slide. Every machine part has a name, and you will have a knowledge of designing every part. Which part is taking how much of a load and how strong it should be. You will be learning eventually. Acha. Now, this is a crane. This is a dedicated crane which can pick up the containers from the ship and then put it back on a truck or on the this port side. It is called as a quay, or some people pronounce it as a quay, and it can do the other way around also. It can pick up the container and put it over here. Now, there was a proverb, or saying that money makes the world go round. Today, it is a agreed proverb that it is a container that makes world go round. Container shipping is probably a most busy sector of a shipping. Now, these container cranes also have to lift the loads of a container. These loads will be again, the loads will be, it lifts the container from here and then load will be moving. And then the load will be placed back over here. This is as high as about ship outside the water. Container ships are tall. From a water line, they are tall up to about 8-story building. As a result, this should be about 25-meter high. When it lifts a 20-ton container from here, then how much this will bend? How much it goes as it taken back? How much the pull will be required? What will be tensions into these ropes? What will be the loads on this carrying column? All these things are decided by the knowledge of engineering mechanics that we will study. Okay, so far in the 11th standard, 12th standard, in the last semester, we have studied vector. We know force is a vector. We know how to add the vectors by IJK method, by law of parallelogram, etc. Fine, but how to make use of it in a practical and marine engineer's life? This will be taught to you in this semester. Now, this is another crane. This is just a slide to make you just conversant with it, well versed with it. It's a different design, that is all. Now, look at the huge size of a container. This is a container. This is a 40 feet. This is about 10 feet. 10 feet by 10 feet. And it may weigh anywhere between, 3-4 to about 20 tons. Look at the pulley blocks, how it is lifted, and maybe it is being pulled out from the ship. Because internet may create some problem, but let us not worry about that. Let us keep working. My internet connection unstable, it says. Yes, this is a close-up of a thing called a spreader, which is lifting the container. Now look, this is a very big challenge. This kind of a ship are, what is this? This is one ship. It is carrying container cranes and taking it from the factory to the port where they are to be installed. Just see what a great risk it is. But your naval architect course will tell you once you are in your sixth semester that how to calculate the requirement of a ship so that it can carry all these cranes. These decisions are taken by carefully adding the forces only, right? So addition of the forces is very easy. Law parallelogram of the forces, or maybe a vector method using IJK, it is absolutely all right. Okay, but this is how you will put it into the practice in your life. Yeah, this is just another crane which is lifting something on it. Just it's a variety. The height will be about 5 to 6 story building and about at least a 20-meter tall. Here you can see how long containers, each weighing at 20,000 tons, are placed, and how these cranes, these are RTGs, rubber tired gantry crane. Okay, no, these are not rubber tired, they are moving on a steel rail. They move on the port and sort out the containers and either load them into the truck or put them in a place from where they can be picked up by the ship to shore container crane and ships be loaded. Here I am showing this particular thing to you so that you can have a clear idea. Look, this is a container crane. I mean container on a truck. Look at this height. Operator will be sitting somewhere over here and on the entire port, okay, containers are moved so that they can be pushed to their destination. Just see, it can lift an entire ship. It's a huge crane. To design the cranes, how to strong this leg should be, how this total frame. See, this frame is this total part, it is a truss. In this semester, we will also study how to find the load into the each arm, each element. You can see that here there are iron bars, steel bars which are welded. When load is lifted, how much force of either a compression or a tension is coming into this bottom element, top element, this sidewise elements. This we will study in detail and find out Probably you can design such cranes at the end of this semester, or you can at least estimate the size of a steel or how strong the pipes or a section should be. You will know very well. This is a largest crane in the world. The distance between the two, this must be about 80 to 100 meters. Crane itself is weighing a 4,000 ton, that is 4 into 10 raised to 6 kilogram. Now, this is a shipyard and it is used in a. This crane is so gigantic that there is a small toy crane on top of it. This toy crane also should be at least a 3-story high. If you go to your hostel terrace or from anywhere, if you take a look at a mountain outside our institute, on the mountain they are building one temple and there is a crane like this. Okay. So adding the different forces is a day in and a day out job. This is again a equally big crane, but in a different company. Here also this distance is about 80 meters. It is a mind-boggling thing. Such huge structures are very rare. Now, look, here a part of a ship is lifted. How to lift it, etc. is being done with the help of a addition of forces. Just another slide. Let us go further ahead. Yeah, you can clearly see a ship being built. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. 7 to the 14. This is a 14-story high building height of this. Just another type of a crane. Look, a ship fully built under a crane. Now, this picture shows one crane which has collapsed. Why it collapsed? Because the person who were handling it miscalculated something and they tried to lift the load. What resulted into the miscalculation? They could not predict the summation or effect of a number of forces that they were acting. Yes, sometimes it can happen. I don't say that it was a human mistake only. Maybe a typhoon came and the wind load became so high that it just could not withstand it. This is a close up of a crane which has crashed. Look, cadets, look at this thing. This beam, it is this much high. How much high it is? It looks like say 1 or 2 meter or something. But you can see that section is so big. This must be at least 5 meters. 5 meter means you can have some idea how much expensive it should be and how it has collapsed like a toy. Why? Because forces that acted upon it just deformed the structure. A structure was not designed to withstand this much forces. Another view, here you can see, look, here there is a small that weightlifting truck, metal handling thing. Here. So how big is this? What a great crane it was, and it collapsed. It must have resulted into a very big loss to whomsoever it belonged. You can clearly see here that heavy gust of a wind has pushed the whole crane back. Now, how not to allow it? Maybe the crane was like this. On the ground. The wind came from here and it just pushed it back. Maybe next time, if you make a bigger base over here, then it may withstand a wind. Such design decisions are taken by people who can add the forces and moments, etc., day in and day out. Now, compared to the car, you can see the size of a crane, how huge it is. And it has got wrangled, like, it has got crumbled entirely. It is as if, you take a piece of a paper in your hand and crumble it into your hand. The wind has just crumbled it. What a great force it must be. Now here also, you can see a ship which is deformed like this. This is sagging. and this is hogging, right? Sagging and hogging. Why it happens, that we will see this. In this case, it may so happen that there is a more cargo in the center and there is a wave like this. So here buoyancy force is higher, here buoyancy forces is higher, and here there is a weight. So it bent like this. Okay. Here in this case, reverse the case. Maybe the cargo was more over here, less in the center, and again more in the rear side, and a wave came like this, giving a higher buoyancy force over here. Correct? Now, ships are designed to withstand such things. Okay? Ships are designed to withstand such things, and they are made stronger to function properly in a certain adverse condition. But if addition of force results into something, then you can see a ships also can break into a two pieces like this. Do you notice it? What a calamity it is. It has broken into two parts straight away. And it is not that it just happens very rarely. In the history of a shipping, such kind of a failures have occurred more than you know, at least you just go and see on the Google, you will find ships broken like this, left in probably every decade. And this has happened in 1994. Now, 1994 is not a very bad days where we didn't know the technology. Computers were there already. Man had gone to the moon and come back. We had all the technology available. But even then, we could not predict the how much ship should be stronger to withstand certain forces of the wave, wind, and a load. So, ability to accurately treat the forces and predict how they will act and what will be the deformation of a material, that is a must knowledge for every marine engineer. This is a close-up of it. Another ship. Just see what kind of a thing it is. Dear friends, I just want all of you to understand that what we are going to study in this course is something very serious, very interesting, and very necessary for all of us. As I teach you, I also keep knowing something more and more about it. Okay? So, I'm sure some of you, there are two divisions, there are 70 cadets all put together maybe. Out of 70, I'm sure about 10 to 15 cadets will in future be designing the ships. They will become naval architects. They will sail for some time and they will take a land job. They would like it and they will continue with it. They will be required to study something further advanced, which I cannot predict now. Okay. Again the crack. Look at this. This is a ore carrier. Can you imagine? This whole length must be 200 meter. Are you staying in a campus? Who is staying in a campus in this?
So division 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. So division 2 is staying in a. So 200 meter means the length of your entire hostel number 3. You have seen hostel 3. So it is a 200 meters.
Sir.
Can you imagine a steel hostel 3 made up of a steel can break like this? Probably hostel 3 is smaller than 200 meters. I'm not sure. But just see the calamity. Why? Because this ship was subjected to the forces which it is not supposed to take. Now, it can happen because of a lot of other things. When ships are just made and when they are virgin, they are fresh and there's no corrosion, etc. Later on, it may get corroded because of the use, etc. And it still becomes weaker in a section than it was designed to. And gradually, its load carrying capacity decreases. So, every ship is inspected after a certain interval. There's a rule, and the thickness of its outside wall in inner component, etc., are checked for the cracks or a corrosion and they are recertified. Okay, earlier it was able to take 4,000 tons of a ore. Now it cannot take more than a 360,000 ton of a ore. Something like that. This job is done by a surveyor. The engineers who survey the ship, they know what are the forces acting on the ship and where the critical things are, sections are, and how to inspect them using a different non-destructive testing technique. Let me tell you, you will study a material science and you will be taught lot of non-destructive testing methods also. Do you know, like the doctor puts a stethoscope on our chest, you can put a stethoscope on a piece of a metal and give it a small impact by a hammer, and you can predict whether the piece has a crack inside or not. There are lot of techniques. We will teach you those, and in future, half of you will be working as a surveyor somewhere. I am sure. Ship surveyor, that is, and there you will be knowing how to add the forces clearly, and this course will be very useful to you. Now, look at this. This is another view of a same ship from the other side. It was over here. Now it is like this. This is a buoyancy curve of a ship. You know, buoyancy force is I mean, of course, you won't understand it now, but at the end of one day you will see there is a more buoyancy over here in the center. There is a more buoyancy force in the central part of the ship, right? Now, Here what you see is a container ship. This happened very near to India in Arabian Ocean in 1994. This is a very interesting case. I will give you the link. You can read about it. This particular ship is pushed up from the center and pulled down at the end. Why? Because the containers in this area and this area were having a higher load. How to distribute the containers on the ship so that the CG remains at one place? This job also needs the skill of adding forces only ultimately. Right? Here what you are supposed to do, let me tell you very crudely, of course, that each container everywhere has a certain weight which is certified by, and each CG is being pulled down by the gravity. Where is it's resultant of all these forces acting? That should be known. Well, nowadays there are computer softwares to do it, but you should have some idea how does the software work and on what principle they are working. This ship broke into the two parts and both the parts were floating. We are studying engineering mechanics because we know what can happen by the rogue forces. Here it is clearly shown how there is a high buoyancy force and a load also acting downward in this place. These are shear force and a bending moment diagram of a ship. This I will teach you in the next semester. Aha. Sum of all. Now, how does the ship behave? This is the reason, dear friends, that we have been studying, we will be studying rather, engineering mechanics. I hope you really feel motivated to study this. Piyush, what do you say, 8143? Piyush? Piyush is busy, he is a very smart cadet. He doesn't want to be in the class.
Sir, I'm there, sir.
Then why don't you reply? You're so shy.
No, sir, I was actually bringing the mouse to the unmute button.
Shivam, what is your opinion? 8176?
Yes, sir.
So, did you, you really have some idea why we are studying engineering mechanics now?
Yes, sir.
There are a lot of reasons more than this, but this is equally important. Prathamesh, 8078.
Sir, he is sleeping.
He is sleeping. No, sometimes people.
No, sir. No, sir, I am awake.
You are awake. Good. Prathamesh Jadhav is awake. I can see that. I think I told you in the last class that you really have a very tiring schedule. My sympathies are with you. A time will come when you will be needing some rest. Just tell me you want a rest and you will get it. But let some understanding develop. We have to study for about 60 lectures, but time will permit about 50 to 55 lectures. Okay, let our 20 lectures go and you have a clear idea about this particular subject, and in the part after that we can be really flexible and study well. I can understand that a tired cadet just simply listening is not as efficient as a cadet who is sleeping. Sometimes a nap of a 1 hour is good for you, and feel free to ask for it. Just put it in the chat box or send me a WhatsApp message, and I will consider that. But till the subject builds up, in a 20 lectures at least. Till then, please keep studying, asking questions, and pay attention. Okay, it's a time for you to begin a next lecture now. I'm sorry that between two lectures you don't get a small break, but I won't cross the time limit. I request both the CRs. Are both the CRs present?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Cadet Sinha, you kindly keep a record of who is not there from your division, and
Yes, sir.
Animesh, you also please note down who are not there in your division. Just keep a record with yourself. I may ask it to you some other day later on, not now immediately. Okay, have a nice day, and we will meet soon. I'll miss you till then. Jai Hind to everybody.
Thank you,
Jai
sir.
Jane, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Jai sir.
Jain, sir.
Jai
CR
Hind.
is sleeping.
Jain, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Prathamesh is sleeping.
Jai sir.
Recording in progress.
वे क्लास है क्या?
या भाई नहीं है कैंसिल है आई थिंक कैंसिल
नहीं
क्या यार
लीव कर दो, लीव कर दो, लीव कर
क्लासेस तो
दो।
बताओ
लीव कर दो।
कहाँ